Imagine a metal that is lighter than steel, yet almost as strong. A metal that does not corrode easily, can survive extreme temperatures, and is safe to use inside the human body. That metal is titanium. It is used in jet engines, aircraft structures, spacecraft, medical implants, and high-performance industrial equipment. In many of these applications, no other material can fully replace it. But here is the surprising part. Titanium is not rare. In fact, it is one of the most abundant elements in the Earth's crust. So why is it so expensive? The answer lies in its extreme chemical reactivity. Titanium does not exist in nature as a pure metal. It is always bonded with other elements, especially oxygen. Most commonly, it is found in minerals such as rutile and ilmenite. If you like similar educational content, please like, subscribe, and share the video with your friends. The problem is that titanium forms very strong bonds with oxygen. These bonds are so stable that they cannot be easily broken using simple smelting methods like those used for iron. If you tried to extract titanium in a traditional furnace, it would immediately react again with oxygen, nitrogen, or carbon, forming brittle compounds instead of usable metal. This means titanium production cannot happen in open air. It must take place in a carefully controlled environment, often without oxygen and sometimes under vacuum or inert gas. The raw material, typically titanium ore, is only the starting point. At this stage, titanium is still locked inside a stable compound and is not usable as a metal. To extract it, engineers use a multi-step process that is very different from standard metal production. One of the most unusual aspects of titanium production is that the material is first transformed into a different chemical form that can be purified and only later converted into metal. This makes titanium production complex, energy-intensive, and expensive. To extract titanium from its natural form, we face a fundamental challenge. Titanium is locked inside a very stable compound, most commonly titanium dioxide. In this compound, titanium is tightly bonded with oxygen, and breaking that bond is extremely difficult. Unlike iron, which can be separated from oxygen using simple carbon-based smelting, titanium cannot be reduced this way. If you try, it immediately reacts again with surrounding elements and becomes unusable. So engineers use a completely different strategy. Instead of trying to directly produce metal, the first goal is to convert titanium into a form that can be purified very precisely. This is done by reacting titanium dioxide with chlorine gas at high temperature, typically around 900 to 1000 degrees Celsius. Carbon is also added to help remove the oxygen. During this reaction, oxygen is removed from the compound and replaced by chlorine. The result is a new substance called titanium tetrachloride. What makes this step so important is the nature of titanium tetrachloride. It is not a solid metal or mineral. It is a volatile liquid, which means it can easily evaporate into a gas and then be condensed again. This property completely changes how we can process titanium. Instead of dealing with a solid ore full of impurities, engineers now have a substance that can be distilled and purified, similar to how liquids are separated in the chemical industry. The titanium tetrachloride is heated, turned into vapor, and then condensed back into liquid form. During this process, impurities such as iron, silicon, and other unwanted elements are removed. This purification stage is absolutely critical. Even very small amounts of impurities can weaken titanium or make it brittle. Since titanium is often used in aerospace and medical applications, the material must be extremely pure. But why go through all this trouble? Because at this stage, titanium is finally in a form that is chemically clean, controllable, ready for the next transformation. However, it is still not metal. It is still a compound that must be reduced. And now comes the most challenging part of the entire process. The titanium must be separated from chlorine without allowing it to react with oxygen or other elements again. This requires a highly controlled environment and a special reduction process. Now we reach the most critical stage of titanium production. At this point, we have a highly purified intermediate material, titanium tetrachloride. It is clean, controlled, and ready for the final transformation into metal. But turning it into titanium is not simple. Titanium is extremely reactive at high temperatures. If exposed to oxygen, nitrogen, or even hydrogen, it will immediately form compounds that make it brittle and unusable. This means the next step must happen in a completely controlled environment, without contact with air. This is where the Kroll process comes in. In this process, titanium tetrachloride is reacted with molten magnesium at high temperature, usually around 800 to 900 degrees Celsius. Magnesium has a strong affinity for chlorine. When the reaction takes place, magnesium pulls the chlorine away from the titanium compound. In simple terms, magnesium captures the chlorine, forming magnesium chloride, and leaves behind pure titanium. However, the result is not a solid block of metal. Instead, what forms is something known as a titanium sponge. This sponge is a porous, irregular mass of metallic titanium. It looks rough and uneven, almost like a burned or foamed metal. At this stage, the material still contains impurities. There are remnants of magnesium, magnesium chloride, and possibly small amounts of other elements. To remove these, the titanium sponge is heated in a vacuum or under controlled conditions so that unwanted materials can evaporate or be separated. This purification is essential because even tiny impurities can significantly affect titanium's strength, corrosion resistance, and reliability. After cleaning, the sponge is much purer, but it still cannot be used directly. Its structure is too irregular, and it does not yet have the mechanical properties needed for real-world applications. So the process continues. The titanium sponge must be melted and consolidated into solid metal. But this introduces another challenge. Titanium cannot be melted in a normal furnace. If it comes into contact with air at high temperature, it will immediately react and degrade. Therefore, special melting techniques are used, such as vacuum arc melting, electron beam melting, melting in inert gas environments like argon. These methods ensure that titanium remains isolated from oxygen and other reactive elements. The result of this stage is a solid titanium ingot, a large, dense block of metal with controlled composition and high purity. But even now, the material is not finished. At this stage, we finally have titanium in a solid form, usually as a large ingot. But this is still not the final material that can be used in aircraft, medical implants, or high-performance machines. To reach that level, titanium must go through several additional processing steps, each of them technically demanding. First, the ingots are often remelted multiple times. This may seem unnecessary, but it serves a critical purpose. Titanium is extremely sensitive to impurities, and even tiny variations in composition can affect its strength, durability, and resistance to corrosion. Repeated melting under vacuum or inert gas conditions ensures that the material becomes uniform and highly controlled. After that, the titanium begins its transformation into usable shapes. It is subjected to processes such as forging, rolling, pressing, and extrusion. These mechanical processes reshape the metal and also refine its internal structure, improving its strength and performance. However, titanium is not easy to work with. It is strong, but it also has relatively low thermal conductivity. This means heat does not dissipate easily during processing, which can make manufacturing more difficult and slower. In many applications, pure titanium is not enough. Instead, engineers use titanium alloys, where small amounts of other elements are added to enhance specific properties. For example, adding aluminum can increase strength and reduce weight, while elements like vanadium can improve toughness and stability. One of the most widely used titanium alloys is a combination of titanium with aluminum and vanadium. This alloy offers an exceptional balance of strength, low weight, and resistance to extreme conditions. That is why it is commonly used in aerospace structures, jet engines, medical implants, high-performance engineering components. After shaping and alloying, titanium parts often undergo machining. This is another challenging step. Titanium is difficult to machine because it generates a lot of heat during cutting, and that heat stays concentrated at the cutting edge. This causes rapid tool wear and requires specialized tools and slower processing speeds. All of these factors increase production time and cost. And now we can answer the key question. Why is titanium so expensive? It is not because it is rare. It is because producing it requires multiple complex chemical transformations, high temperatures and controlled environments, vacuum or inert gas processing, repeated melting and purification, difficult mechanical processing and machining. Each step adds cost, energy consumption, and technical complexity. At the same time, titanium offers a combination of properties that very few materials can match. It is strong, lightweight, corrosion-resistant, and biocompatible. This makes it essential in industries where performance and reliability are critical. In the end, titanium is a perfect example of a material whose value comes not from scarcity, but from the extraordinary effort required to produce it.